I was straightening my tie when the usher asked me, again, if I was sure I didn't come alone. He said it softly, like I might be embarrassed. The reception cards had all been laid out on a white draped table, alphabetized, and mine, just mine, sat there like a clerical shrug. No plow one, no blank line, just Elliot Marshall. Room buzzing with chatter, forks clinking, champagne fizzing in glass. I swallowed down whatever I was about to say and nodded. Let's rewind. A week before the wedding, I called my cousin Adam, the groom, and asked him if the plus one had made it onto the invite. Of course, he said. Didn't you get the email? I had. It was a Google form. RSVP, chicken or fish, optional dietary needs, optional guest name. I'd filled it out the night it came in. Tapped her name in carefully. Marina Sandoval. But now we were standing at the entrance to the reception hall. Me in a suit that felt a half size too tight in the chest. Her in a navy dress she'd debated over for an hour that morning. And she was staring at me like I'd just dragged her into a lie. I told you I put your name in, I said. Her lips pinched. She didn't say, I believe you, but she didn't leave either. Just stood next to me in her heels, arms folded, while the usher gave me that apologetic, there's nothing I can do look. I watched the guy behind us grab his card, Dylan Foster and guest, and disappear into the glowing noise of the room like it had just swallowed him whole. We stood awkwardly near the entrance for another minute, pretending to read the schedule pinned to the easel board. Cocktail hour, 5:30 p.m. Dinner service, 6:30 p.m. Toasts, 7:15 p.m. First dance, 8:00 p.m. I cleared my throat. I'll go talk to someone. Maybe there's an extra seat. No, she said. Let's just find a spot and sit. You're not even listed. I don't care about the card, Elliot. She meant it, or tried to, but there was a softness in the corners of her eyes, something fragile. We ended up at table 9, unassigned, overflow, the stray cousins and distant coworkers' dates. No place cards, just napkins folded in perfect triangles and a centerpiece that looked like it came from a Pinterest board. Across from us sat a woman who worked with the bride at some publishing house in Boston. Next to her, a guy named Greg, who, within 3 minutes, told us about his recent divorce and his decision to take up glassblowing. I nodded politely and offered affirmations in the right places. Marina smiled and nodded too, but it wasn't her real smile. It was her public one. The kind you give when you're trying not to seem like the girlfriend who didn't get invited properly. The thing about weddings is, you notice who gets noticed. The photographer, for example, took pictures of everyone at table 1, where the bride's friends sat in matching dresses and popped champagne for the camera. 2 got a selfie stick and the first pass at appetizers. Nobody came to table 9. And when the best man got up to tell the story of how Adam met Claire, how they met in college, bonded over bad indie movies, and ended up co-hosting trivia night at a dive bar in Brooklyn, I found myself watching Marina's expression instead of the slideshow on the projector screen. She was doing that thing again, that quiet fade, the slow retreat into polite distance. We'd been together a year, long enough that people asked when we were moving in, not long enough that I could read her silences without feeling like I was fumbling in the dark. I leaned over. I'll go talk to Adam after the toast. She didn't look at me. Marina. Finally, she turned. It's not about the card, Elliot. It's how things feel. Like I wasn't supposed to be here. Like I was an afterthought. I wanted you here. You know that. She blinked slowly. Do I? Dinner came. Chicken marsala and dry salmon. The kind you eat with practiced enthusiasm. Greg told another story, this time about his ex-wife's dog, a poodle named Stanley, who'd outlived their marriage and now lived with her new boyfriend in New Jersey. Marina laughed politely. I reached for my wine. It was warm. Then the DJ called out, "We're about to begin the speeches. If everyone could turn their chairs toward the dance floor." Chairs shuffled. The lights dimmed slightly. Adam's dad went first. Heartfelt. A little too long. Claire's mom read a poem. Then came Claire's college roommate, the maid of honor. Then Adam's younger brother, Josh. I kept looking at Marina, her posture tighter, her fingers tracing the edge of her napkin like it was the only thing tethering her. I leaned over. "Do you want to go?" She shook her head. "Let's just see it through." That was when it happened. Right after Josh finished a rambling story about Adam's bachelor party mishaps in Vegas, the DJ started to announce something. His mic crackled, and then a voice rose behind us. A woman's voice. Clear, confident. "Hi, sorry, could I say a few words?" Heads turned. Even the DJ looked surprised. I followed the voice, eyes scanning the tables. She stood 2 rows behind us, hand raised, smile soft but unmistakable. It was Marina. I froze. Someone handed her a mic, and she stepped into the light as if she'd been meant to be there the whole time, like the omission hadn't touched her. She didn't look at me. Instead, she looked at Adam and Claire. "I know I wasn't on the official list," she said, smiling toward the couple, "but I wanted to say thank you for including me, even if the seating chart didn't." Soft laughter. A ripple through the room. Claire looked confused. Adam looked pale. "I'm Marina, Elliot's partner, and I just wanted to say, watching the 2 of you today reminded me what real partnership looks like. It's not about the perfect schedule or the curated playlist. It's about showing up, even when things get messy, even when things get left off." There was a long pause. I hope, if nothing else, we can all remember to make space for the people who showed up, even if they weren't perfectly written in. And with that, she handed the mic back and returned to table 9 like she hadn't just pierced the entire room's skin. She sat down quietly, smoothed her napkin, didn't look at me. "Marina?" I whispered. She shook her head once gently. "Later." There's a kind of silence that follows a speech like that. Not the awkward kind, not even the reverent kind. It's the kind where everyone's clapping but thinking, like they're clapping for a mirror they didn't expect to be shown. After Marina sat down, the applause was a beat too long, a touch too self-aware. The DJ, clearly unprepared, coughed once into the mic, and then stumbled into announcing the cake cutting, skipping right over the final scheduled speech. I don't think anyone even noticed, except me and Adam. He found me 10 minutes later. Marina had gone to the restroom, maybe for space, maybe for quiet, maybe just to breathe. I was standing near the back wall, pretending to look at the framed photo collage of Adam and Claire's engagement session. I was on the second glass of red that tasted more like vinegar with every sip. "Elliot." I turned. Adam's bow tie was loosened. His smile looked apologetic before he even opened his mouth. "Hey," I said flatly, "can we talk?" We stepped out into the hallway. The music dimmed behind the door, muffled by the thick carpet and the swinging exit. "I screwed up," he said. No hesitation, no denial. "I meant to tell Claire about the +1, but it got lost in the shuffle. She was stressed. The planner had a cutoff. I thought you might come alone." "You knew I wasn't." "I figured it might not be serious." I looked at him then, hard. "You figured?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "I don't know, man. We've barely seen each other since, last Thanksgiving? I didn't know if she was still in the picture, or if you were gonna bring someone new." I stepped back, disgusted. "So you just left her off, assumed it wouldn't matter?" "I didn't think you'd make a thing of it." "I didn't," I snapped. "She did, with grace, with class, because you and Claire couldn't be bothered to include her." His jaw clenched. It was an honest mistake. No, I said. It was a lazy choice. He sighed. I'll talk to her, he offered. Tell her it wasn't on you. It wasn't on me. We stood in silence for a moment, the low hum of the band warming up inside. Adam looked older than I remembered. His temples were starting to gray, and for a second, I wondered if he even noticed how far apart we'd drifted in the last 5 years. College reunions, holiday texts, Instagram likes, but nothing real. I broke the silence. You ever feel like someone else's party became your turning point? He blinked. What? Never mind. I went back in. Marina was seated when I returned, sipping water. Her plate was pushed aside, the salmon barely touched. She looked up. Everything okay? I talked to Adam. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. He admitted it, said he forgot, blamed Claire, blamed the planner, blamed the date cut off. She smirked bitterly. Of course. I sat next to her. Not close, not far. Can we just go? She said quietly. Before the dancing starts. Yeah, I said. We can. We didn't say much on the way out. Just the soft shuffle of footsteps on carpeted halls, the distant echo of a live cover of Can't Help Falling in Love, bleeding from the ballroom, and the too loud elevator ding when it arrived to take us back to the hotel lobby. The car ride was worse. 15 minutes from the venue to the hotel, and it felt like someone had stuffed the silence with cotton. She looked out the window most of the time. I stared straight ahead. I wanted to apologize, but not for forgetting her name. I wanted to apologize for how small she must have felt, sitting at that table with strangers, while everyone else got their pictures taken and their champagne topped off. Back in the room, she kicked off her heels and sat on the edge of the bed. I unbuttoned my shirt slowly, folding it over the chair. Finally, she spoke. Do you know how long it took me to decide whether I should even come? I turned. What do you mean? She didn't look at me. Weddings aren't easy for me. All that performative happiness, the forced intimacy, I told myself it'd be different with you. It was supposed to be. I thought, she continued, if I showed up, if I smiled and made conversation and wore the right dress, someone would notice. Someone would say, oh, that's Elliot's person. My throat tightened. You are. She looked up, finally meeting my eyes. Am I? We'd had fights before, but never like this. This wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was the quiet kind of pain, the kind that hangs in the air like smoke from a fire you didn't realize was burning. I sat beside her. I'm not great at showing it, I said, but I see you. I wanted you there. I filled out that form. I put your name in the line. She nodded slowly. But no one else did. Not because you weren't important. Because I didn't double check. I didn't push back. That's the problem, she whispered. You didn't think to fight for me. We sat there, letting the weight of that sentence settle. I reached for her hand. She let me hold it. I'll do better, I said. Not just with wedding invites, with all of it. The showing up, the making. Sure. She didn't answer right away. When she finally spoke, it was soft. You can't fix it all tonight. I know, but I need to know you'll try. I will. We didn't sleep right away. We lay in bed with the lights off, the room dimly lit by the city glow through the curtains. Her back was to me, but our hands stayed linked between us. Around 2 a.m, she whispered, Do you think they'll remember what I said? I smiled in the dark. They'll never forget. The next morning, we checked out early. I offered to grab coffee before hitting the road, but Marina wanted to skip the lobby, the small talk, the possibility of running into anyone in pastel linen or satin heels. We stopped at a drive-thru, got 2 black coffees and a croissant to split, and pulled into a quiet park with a view of the lake. She sat cross-legged on a picnic bench, hair in a messy bun, dress replaced by an oversized hoodie. "Do you regret it?" I asked. "Regret what?" "The toast." She smiled. "Not for a second." The wind picked up slightly. A few leaves blew across the pavement like kids chasing each other. "Something shifted last night," I said. "Not just between us. For me. I realized how many rooms I've walked into without making space for you." She looked at me for a long moment, then finally nodded. "Good," she said, "because I'm done standing in corners waiting to be seen." I reached across the table and took her hand again. This time, she squeezed back. The Monday after the wedding felt oddly quiet. No texts from Adam, no tagged photos, just the usual work emails, and a weird sense that something personal had shifted in a public way, and no one quite knew how to bring it up. I sat at my desk, half reading a quarterly sales report, half refreshing Instagram out of habit. The wedding hashtag, #Claire and Adam Tie the Knot, was already populated with carefully edited shots: first dance, bouquet toss, sparkler exit. Marina wasn't in any of them. Neither was I. Around lunch, I got a call from an unknown number. "Elliot Marshall?" "Speaking." "This is Deanna, Claire's wedding coordinator. I'm calling on behalf of Claire and Adam. They wanted to sincerely apologize for the oversight with your guest card." I blinked. "They sent you to tell me that?" Yes. They've asked me to pass along that it was an unfortunate administrative issue." I paused. "No one's asking you to apologize for them," I said. "They can call me." She hesitated. "I understand. I'll let them know." Click. I stared at my phone for a while. That call wasn't for me. It was to check a box. Damage control. I texted Marina. Got a call from their wedding planner. Apology, kind of. They didn't call themselves. She didn't respond right away. An hour later, a single word. Expected. The next few days, things between Marina and me were tender. Not tense, not brittle, but something like healing a pulled muscle, still sore when you move wrong. We were careful with each other, careful in the way we worded things, careful with how long we paused before responding. I made dinner that Wednesday night, her favorite, pasta with garlic butter shrimp, and she smiled when she walked into the kitchen, but didn't say anything right away. She just sat down and watched me set the plates. "You always use too much garlic," she said softly. I grinned. "Yeah, and you always say that, and then finish your plate." She didn't deny it. After dinner, we sat on the couch with the TV playing quietly. She turned to me. "Would you have said anything if I hadn't stood up?" I looked at her. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Maybe. Eventually." She nodded. "That's what scares me." I didn't have a good answer. I'd always been the kind of guy who avoided scenes, who made peace instead of noise, who let things slide. But Marina wasn't the kind of woman you let slide. She was the kind of woman who noticed when the room didn't have space for her and carved one out anyway. And I had to admit, there was a part of me that admired her even more for it, even if it also made me uncomfortable. On Friday, Adam finally called. I let it ring twice before picking up. "Hey," he said. "Hey." Long pause. I wanted to say sorry, myself, not through Deanna. I sat down at the edge of the bed. "Okay. I messed up. I should have included her. I should have double-checked." "Yeah. I think I don't know. I assumed you'd roll with it. You always do." That stuck. "You're not wrong," I said. "I usually do." But Marina didn't. She shouldn't have had to. Another pause. Adam exhaled into the phone. "Claire's a little shaken." I raised an eyebrow. Shaken? She didn't expect the tone of the speech. She didn't expect Marina to stand up for herself? She didn't expect a public moment like that at her wedding. Tell Claire, I said, that she's lucky the only public thing was a thoughtful toast. Adam went quiet. I didn't wait. I'm not mad at you, Adam. Not exactly. I'm just disappointed because I realized how many times I've let people decide how important the people in my life are. And I'm done doing that. Fair, he said quietly. We ended the call, not with a promise, not with a plan to see each other, but with an agreement to let it breathe. Saturday, Marina invited me to her place. We hadn't done a weekend apart in months, but this time, she'd asked to reset a bit. Some space. Not a breakup, just air. When I arrived, she was barefoot, painting her toenails a deep rust color, sitting on the floor with an old throw blanket under her legs. She didn't stand when I came in, just looked up and smiled. You came. You invited me. I wasn't sure you would. I dropped the weekend bag by the door and sat beside her, careful not to touch anything wet. She looked over at me. I want to show you something. She pulled out a journal, hard-bound, soft blue cover, and opened to a dog-eared page. I wrote the speech down, she said. I read the lines again, this time in her handwriting. Neat. Slanted slightly left. At the bottom, a note to herself. Don't cry. Breathe before make space line. I looked at her. You planned it? She nodded. I had a feeling. That gutted me. That she expected not to be counted. That she came anyway. That she showed up just in case I showed up for her. I should have said something that night, I said. I should have walked up, taken the mic, and told the whole room they forgot someone who mattered. She shook her head. You're not a mic guy. You're a quiet gesture guy. That's okay. But I needed this one to be loud. I took her hand. This isn't just about the wedding, she said. I know. It's about knowing where I stand, in front of people, not just in your apartment. That night we talked for hours, not just about the wedding, but about us, our rhythms, our pasts, our expectations. She told me about the time her ex-boyfriend brought her to his sister's engagement party and introduced her as a friend. I told her about the time I avoided telling my parents I was seeing someone because I wasn't sure they'd approve, and how that someone never knew the real reason. We held each other like the bed might float away otherwise. The next morning, I asked her to coffee. She smiled sleepily. A date? No, a plan. She tilted her head. What kind of a plan? A plan to not fade, not leave people in corners, not let silence do the talking. We walked to the local cafe down the block. It was sunny but cool, the kind of early autumn morning where the breeze carries both warmth and warning. Over 2 black coffees and a pair of almond croissants, I told her what I'd decided. I want to take a few weeks off. She blinked. From work? From routine, from coasting. She leaned in. What does that look like? Spending time with you, visiting my parents, with you, calling my cousin, not Adam, the one who never gets invited to things. She raised an eyebrow. The one with the ferrets? I laughed. Exactly. Marina didn't respond right away. Then she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I'd like that, she said. All of it. We didn't fix everything that day, but something important had shifted. Not because she gave a speech, but because she stopped waiting for me to speak first. 2 weeks after the wedding, Adam texted me. You free this weekend? Claire and I want to have you and Marina over. Dinner. Make things right. I read the message twice, then a third time. Not because I didn't understand it, but because I wasn't sure I believed it. Marina was next to me on the couch, reading something on her tablet, her legs tucked under her, wrapped in one of my old sweatshirts. I turned the screen toward her. She raised one eyebrow. You want to go? I don't know, I said. Feels Performative. She didn't say anything. Could be them trying, I offered. Could be them trying to save face. Or both. She nodded. If we go as equals, not guests. We showed up Saturday night at 7 sharp. Claire opened the door. She wore a cream sweater and jeans. No makeup, no curated hostess energy. She looked nervous. "Hey," she said, stepping aside. Marina smiled, polite but restrained. I nodded. The apartment was spotless, but the air carried tension, like they'd scrubbed every surface except the one under the conversation waiting to happen. Adam came out of the kitchen with a bottle of wine. "Thanks for coming." "Thanks for inviting us," I said. We sat around a low wood dining table set for 4. Soft jazz played from a Bluetooth speaker in the corner. A candle flickered in a too-clean holder. The first 15 minutes were mostly surface chatter. Claire asked Marina about her work, nonprofit policy research. Marina asked Claire about her recent promotion, editor-in-chief at a small lifestyle magazine. They both smiled tightly, like two women at a summit, unsure if the handshake would lead to trust or just more diplomacy. Adam, ever the peacemaker, filled silences with small anecdotes. Then, after the plates had been cleared and the dessert, store-bought cheesecake, half-eaten, Claire finally spoke. "I owe you an apology." She looked directly at Marina. "I knew your name. It was on the spreadsheet. I saw it." Marina's eyebrows raised slightly. Claire continued, "I removed it, not to be malicious, just because we were over capacity. My cousin added a last-minute guest and—" "You chose them over me," Marina said softly. No accusation, just fact. Claire blinked. "Yes, I did." The room went still. Adam looked like he wanted to say something, but held back. Claire inhaled. "And it was wrong. I don't know you, and that's on me. But I dismissed your importance based on convenience. I'm sorry." Marina sat quiet for a moment, then she leaned forward, elbows on the table. "I appreciate you saying that," she said. "It's not about the card. It never really was. It's about visibility. You had the power to make space, and chose not to." Claire nodded. "I understand that now." Marina tilted her head. "Why did my toast bother you?" Claire swallowed. "Because it made me look careless." "You were." Another silence. Claire exhaled. "Yes, I was." Something in the room softened after that. Not healed, not undone, but softened. Adam reached for his wine. "Can I ask something?" I nodded. "That moment, when she stood up, did you know she'd planned it?" I shook my head. "Not until later." "Were you mad?" I looked at Marina. "No. I was embarrassed that I didn't do it first." Adam looked down. "I always thought you were the quiet type," he said. "Turns out you're just waiting for the right volume." Marina smiled. We didn't stay too long after, just enough time for the apology to settle and the night to end on something like shared understanding. As we put on our coats, Claire walked over to Marina. "I hope we get a chance to know each other better." "We'll see," Marina said, not coldly, but with boundaries. Claire nodded. That was enough. In the car, Marina reached across the console and held my hand. "You were quiet tonight," she said. "Didn't need to talk," I said. "You were the voice in the room." She smirked. "That's new." I like new. She turned to look at me. "I don't need you to change who you are, Elliot. I just need to know you'll stand beside me when it counts." "I will," I said. "Next time, and every time after." The following week, my mom called. She wanted to know when I was coming to visit again. "Soon, I said. "Actually, I'd like to bring someone with me." There was a pause. "Oh?" she said. "A girlfriend?" "Her name's Marina. I've told you about her." "Yes, yes, of course. Bring her." Another pause. "Should I invite your aunt and cousins too?" I hesitated. No, I said, not this time. I want it to be personal. I want her to feel seen. My mom didn't push, just said okay. Marina and I drove up the next weekend. 3 hours in the car, windows down halfway, her feet on the dash, me humming to a playlist we'd made together, little things that shouldn't matter, but did. When we got there, my mom greeted us with open arms and actual effort. A place setting with Marina's name written in her cursive, a vegetarian side dish she Googled last minute, and a printed photo of me and Marina from a recent hike, stuck in a thrift store frame on the table. I hope that's okay, she said nervously. Marina's eyes glistened. It's perfect. That night, over dinner, my mom asked Marina questions. Real ones, not filler, not small talk. And Marina answered, fully, not performing, just being. I watched them talk, and something in my chest unknotted. After dinner, my mom took me aside in the kitchen. She's special, she said. I know. She makes you stronger. She makes me more. My mom smiled. Good. On the drive back, Marina looked at me and said, that felt like an invitation. It was, I said, a real one. The last wedding photo finally showed up on social media about a month later. It wasn't one from the official photographer. It was a blurry, low-light shot taken by someone's phone, probably late in the evening, judging by the loosened ties and the sleepy grins. Adam and Claire in the center, arms around each other. A crowd behind them, mostly laughing. Champagne glasses in the air. And off to the side, nearly out of frame, you could just barely make out me and Marina at table 9. Her turned slightly in profile, mid-laugh. Me watching her, not the camera. It wasn't meant to be a picture of us, but it was the one I saved. Marina and I didn't talk much about the wedding after that dinner with Adam and Claire. Not because we swept it under the rug, but because it had done its job. It forced the truth out of both of us, about how we show up, about what it means to be chosen, not just invited. We started calling those little moments Table 9 tests. When someone left her name off an email thread at work, Table 9 test. When a restaurant only greeted me and ignored her, Table 9 test. When a family friend forgot we'd been together over a year and asked if she was just visiting, Table 9 test. And every time we reminded each other, we don't sit quietly at the wrong table anymore. 3 months later, on a cold December morning, Marina got up before me. I heard the clink of mugs in the kitchen, the familiar sound of the kettle boiling, the soft scrape of the chair on tile. When I came out, she had set 2 mugs on the table. Mine black with a chipped rim, hers a handmade ceramic one she'd bought at a flea market. Between them, a small white envelope. No label, no decoration, just folded carefully, sealed with a piece of tape. "What's this?" I asked, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. She slid it toward me. Inside, a card. No hallmark, just thick cardstock, handwritten in ink. "This time you're the one invited. RSVP optional. Seat reserved. No name forgotten." I looked up. She was watching me with a small, steady smile. Then she held out a key. "To my place," she said, "if you want it." I didn't even hesitate. "I do." We moved in together that winter. It wasn't seamless. Her place had bad heating. I had too many t-shirts I couldn't part with. We fought over dishwasher placement and grocery budgets. But we always circled back to the core. We made space. One night, after a long day and a short fight about something dumb, who forgot to buy oat milk, she curled into my side on the couch and whispered, "Thanks for showing up." "Even for the milk?" She laughed. "Especially for the milk." In late spring, we were invited to another wedding, this time a friend of Marina's. The invite came in the mail. Thick envelope, gold script. On the RSVP line, in perfect serif font, Marina Sandoval and Elliot Marshall. Underneath, in smaller letters, please let us know if you need additional accommodations. We want everyone to feel welcome. We both smiled when we read it. Progress, I said. Table 1 energy, she replied. At that wedding, we danced, not just once, not just to the slow songs. We danced like we belonged there, like our names had been carved into the moment instead of penciled in last minute. Marina gave a toast, this time asked to speak, introduced properly, and I stood by her side the whole time. She talked about love as a kind of architecture, about how we build rooms for each other, not just with walls and windows, but with intention, with presence. I watched her speak and realized something that surprised me. That wedding, the one where they forgot her, hadn't been a failure. It had been the foundation. Back at home, I started writing more, journaling, reflecting. It was Marina's idea. You've got stories in you, she said, not just reactions, real ones. And this was the first one I wrote in full, because I needed to say it plainly, because someone out there has stood at a table without a name card and wondered if they were just a placeholder in someone else's life, because someone else out there might realize too late that they let the people who mattered most slip out of frame. So here it is. They forgot my +1. But I almost forgot why she mattered. She reminded me, with her voice, her poise, her refusal to shrink, that love isn't quiet compliance. It's presence. It's permission to take up space. And if you're lucky enough to have someone like that, don't just RSVP with their name. Make sure they know the seat is theirs, even before the invitation arrives. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life confessions and emotional journeys like this one.